Hey, Rob from Order 42 here, and today we're going to be discussing The Queen's Gambit. The Queen's Gambit is a limited series available on Netflix telling the story of Beth Harmon, an orphaned chess prodigy who struggles with addiction in a quest to become the greatest chess player in the world. Anya Taylor Joy plays Beth Harmon through most of her life in this show, and the thing about Anya Taylor Joy is she brings a confidence to her performances that is pretty amazing to see. She doesn't have that typical movie star look. There's a charisma that she brings that is it's sort of magnetic to watch. When she is on screen, you don't want to look away. She is amazing. She's just got that it factor that so many actors wish they had. Bill Camp plays Mr. Scheibel, the janitor at the orphanage that young Beth is sent to, and he is the one that introduces chess to young Beth and starts her on this journey. He plays him as reserved, impressed, but reserved, stern yet supportive, and it's a beautiful performance. Marierlle Heller plays Alma Wheatley, the woman who adopts Beth into her home, and you start to see a change in her character over the series. It's a very interesting performance. Harry Meling plays Harry Beltic, and it wasn't until after the series was over that I realized that he was Dudley Dursley in Harry Potter. I don't know what I expected from the actor that played Dudley Dursley back when I first saw him, but it was cool to see him in this role. Thomas Brodie-Sangster plays Benny Watts in almost the rock star chess player role. He plays Benny in a way that makes you almost see the possibility of idolizing a person like this, but he also has a vulnerability to him that I really enjoyed seeing. Isla Johnston plays young Beth, and I feel like her performance is really going to be overshadowed in a lot of ways, and it really shouldn't be. Moses Ingram plays Jolene in possibly my favorite performance in the entire series. Her character development is so interesting to see. Her arc, there's so many layers to it. It's very layered performance from someone who's new to acting. I think she did amazingly, and I cannot wait to see what she does next. Just from my character descriptions, you probably know that I love this series. It's probably one of the best things I've watched this year. I enjoyed, almost everything about it. I feel like in a lot of ways, introductions is difficult to really pull off and to get you sucked in. And for me, that's the reason why the first episode is probably my favorite. It's so dense with information, but it's done so effortlessly. The look of the show is absolutely gorgeous. There's a tendency to look at a series and knowing that it may not have the largest budget, that you sort of see the seams a lot of the times. And that's probably my only issue with this series, is that there are some shots that are let's just say a little obvious, that these are digital sets or digital extensions. For the most part, though, I was really impressed with how beautiful some of these sets were. The way that it's shot definitely gives it a movie quality kind of experience. In a lot of ways, I feel like these limited series are even preferable to movies in a lot of ways, because it's not just, the first act, the second act, and the third act. It gives the characters room to live in their world. And it's something that I really enjoy as somebody who's into character development. The story is the story, but it's those characters that live in that story. That's what gives you the meat that keeps you coming back, and it keeps you engaged in what is going on. If the characters aren't interesting, it's kind of hard to do that. I loved how this story progressed all the way up until probably the last part of the story, where you almost feel this Rocky style kind of feeling, where you're like, okay, well, I see where this is going, and in a lot of ways throughout the series, you're kind of waiting for the shoe to drop. You're waiting for the big failure so that they can pick themselves back up and go and win and all that kind of stuff. That's kind of what you're waiting for. They prolong it to a point where it's almost it's almost shocking when it happens. And then, you see the inevitable rise back to former glory. If you look at the ratings for the individual episodes on IMDb, you can sort of see that people seem to enjoy the 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 ending to the show more than the beginning. But to me, the beginning is where the meat of it is. That's where the great stuff is. I love the way these characters are introduced. I love the way that they live in the world. As I said, it's one thing to give characters and put the pieces on the board, so to speak. But those characters have to live in those roles, and they have to be people in these situations. And that's one of the things I love about a series, is that it gives those characters room to breathe and room to live, and it gives us the chance to be able to attach ourselves to these characters and really get in their heads a little bit. Something I love about these mini series or limited series. And I don't want anybody to think that because I kind of give them a little bit of crap for their shoddy CG in some places. This looks great. I mean, it really does look great. The costumes are perfect. The hairstyles even match the time period so perfectly that it was hard to imagine that some of these people didn't live in those times. I mean, it really feels like it was filmed in the time period that it takes place. And again, Anya Taylor Joy is absolutely magnetic in this show. She is so, she does it so effortlessly, and that's not an easy thing to do as an actor, is to pull yourself along and be on screen for that long and be that interesting for that long. It's an amazing performance, and if she wasn't already considered a star, well, this is going to make her a star. The Queen's Gambit is based upon the novel by Walter Tevis and was created by Frank and Allan Scott. That's a lot of Scotts. Anyway, Frank wrote and directed each and every episode. So you better believe that from here on out, Frank is going to be on my watch list. Well, what do I think about the show? Well, I love it. I think it was absolutely fantastic. I mean, if I was to give a rating to the entire series, I would give it a 3.5 out of 4 stars. The only problem I have is that it starts to get a little predictable toward the end. Of course, as any sort of story, like this, you've got to have the inevitable fall and the let's pick ourselves back up and finish. All that stuff is here, but that's not to take away the great storytelling, the amazing world that they created, and these characters are amazing. Anya Taylor Joy, I mean, these actors were fantastic. It was a great show. If you have Netflix, I highly recommend you at least give that first episode a shot, because to me, that first episode will hook you. I mean, it is good stuff. So, The Queen's Gambit, have you seen it? Did you like it? Or, maybe you want to see it now because of this video. Leave your comments down below and let me know what you think. And if you like the video, please consider hitting that like button. It does really help the channel. And subscribe for more if you're new, because wow, we've got a lot more coming. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.